This
work session.
conference will
Yeah.
now be recorded.
Okay,
Now, can you read the opening statement?
absolutely. Pursuant to the Open Public Meetings Act, I hereby announce that adequate notice of this meeting, as required by said act, has been provided by adopting a schedule of regular meetings for the year 2020, which schedule was which schedule was posted on the Borough Hall Bulletin Board, as well as the Borough website, and forwarded to both the South Jersey Times and the Sentinel of Gloucester County, and filed with the Borough Clerk on January 4th, 2020.
Okay. John will be here in 5 minutes.
Okay,
You want to do roll call, Karen?
yes. Mayor Wallace will be joining us shortly. Mr. Casabone,
Yes.
Mr. D'Alessandro,
Here.
Mr. Fiola,
Here.
Mr. Halter,
Here.
Ms. Miller,
Here.
Mrs. Spence,
Here.
Mr. Melandro,
Here.
Mr. Scafidi,
Present.
Mr. Brunemer.
Here. I think what we have up next, well, we have to review the bill list. Do you need approval or anything on that, Karen?
I'll need approval later on in the
Okay.
meeting at the end, but we don't, there's really not much to review.
Okay, good. Then let's go right to the administrator updates. And John and I talked briefly about this already today. So Hector's on the line. When we talk about reopening Glassboro parks, we've obviously have reopened the parks. This is about reopening the monkey bars and stuff like that. So I'm going to turn it over to Hector at this point. Hector?
Thank you, Ed. Yeah, we've maintained the playgrounds closed. We've been putting caution tape on the playgrounds. We install signs notifying everyone that the playground is closed. Did a lot of research. I looked at the Mel Safety Institute bulletin from the Mel. Also looked at the CDC update on COVID-19 and the reopening guidance of cleaning and disinfecting the playgrounds. I even went as far as there's a company out there that comes and they'll treat your equipment, your playground equipment, and they say they guarantee it for 90 days, but depending on weather, it could be 60. But if it's real bad, it's only good for 30 days. It's expensive. They're $6,700 if we get an outside company to treat our playgrounds. I went a little further and I continued to work on it up until last week with different chemicals. Sherwin-Williams puts out a chemical. It's like $20 a gallon. Everything that I've looked at is on the EPA N list, which is the approved list for COVID-19. Last week, I did find a chemical that is very inexpensive. It's made, Sam's Club sells it. It's like $7 for a 5-gallon container. It's a concentrated chemical, dilutes 1 ounce to a gallon of water. So 5 gallons will get me 128 gallons of the sanitizer disinfectant. The problem we're having is in order to apply any of these chemicals, we need a Kevlar suits in order to do it, respirators. We're looking at, it takes 25 minutes to do a playground. I did it myself. We bought a fogger, a mister, which speeds up the process rather than a hand pump. You're looking at 25 minutes average. We have 6 playgrounds to treat. We're about 2.5 hours a day. Just in labor, plus then you figure the travel time between the 6 playgrounds. We're roughly looking at about 3.5 hours to treat, sanitize the playgrounds. I looked at Pittman. Pittman has the one playground over there at Assion Lake. They're not doing anything, no signs. They're not doing anything. I went up to Mantua. They're treating and sanitizing their playgrounds 7 days a week. They do have a weekend crew that comes in. That's part of their operation. They're not paying anybody any extra overtime. It's part of their operation. They're sanitizing 7 days a week. Chemicals they're using are not on the EPA N list, and they do have a sign on their playground that says that they're sanitizing the playground once daily, letting you know, maintain social distancing, wear a mask, wash your hands as soon as you're done. But my problem is, even using the less expensive chemicals, if we were to treat it 5 days a week, and I only have 2 people that are certified to spray chemicals, which is Ryan and Joe Blandino. If I average their salaries, I'm $26 an hour. 5 days a week is $455, plus the suits, the respirators, chemicals. It's roughly $1,900 a month to do the sanitizing on the equipment. In all fairness, I've received 3 emails since March, and I've received 2 phone calls. So I've had a total of 5 people reach out to me inquiring why the playgrounds are closed. Haddon Township or Haddon Field, their playgrounds are closed. I checked with Franklin. They have 1 playground, and they say it doesn't get used. So it's kind of like all over. No one's really has any, other than Mantua, no one's really doing anything. My biggest concern, of course, is the liability exposure if we have it, plus the cost and the time. With no summer help this year, we've lost 80 hours a week of summer help, which we don't have now. So we're pushing these guys from the minute they walk in to the minute they go home. I mean, there's really no downtime, and if I lose somebody 3 to 4 hours a day, that's really gonna put a hurting on the operation.
Hey, Hector.
Yes.
The county does it. We have a guy that's licensed, but also they can, other people can work underneath his license as long as they did that safety course. And they do it pretty cheaply with pump sprayers. I know outside companies are pretty costly, but in the morning when we open the parks, 8 a.m. or whatever, no one's at the park at that time of the day. Why can't we just do them then?
Oh, I spoke with Lou from the county when we did the movie night here over at East New Street, and he was using hand pumps. I told him we have a fogger, which is inexpensive. I mean, we have it. It's like $300 for the mister,
yeah.
And you can knock out a good sized playground fairly quick. So the county was going to look into getting those as well. But they have a staff at each park, from what he told me. I
don't want to stop you, but who's Lou at the county? Because that person doesn't do the ones for what we do, all the parks and bathrooms and stuff out of my office in there. That's why I'm trying to understand they do all the ambulance buildings too, and it's pretty cheap to get that done.
Joe, he's the gentleman from Gloucester County, from the Park and Recreation Department. He's the one that comes down. That's who I spoke to. He's the one that set up the screen for the family movie night that we had back in July. And that's who I spoke to. And he's the one that told me that, they do their parks, and he said they do them in the morning. But he says there's a crew at every park.
No, they use outside service too, I believe, but most of the stuff that we do in-house is done, early in the morning or at overtime. They do it after hours. But yeah,
I mean, if we were to institute anything, I mean, it would be something I want to do first thing in the morning, because the chemical needs to sit on the equipment for 10 minutes. So if we do it right at 7, but the thing is that, I'm going to lose man hours. It's 17 and a half hours I would end up losing roughly a week in man hours with no summer help.
The other thing that you could do is maybe put in little pump sprayers. If people are using it and they're concerned, maybe they should wipe down what their kid's going to be playing on. I don't know. The same way the gyms do it. The gyms have that one little quart bottle with the stuff in it, and they just spray their equipment down after they get done using it or before they use it. I mean, that could be another option. I don't know.
Just
to spend that kind of money on it, it's crazy.
If I could just weigh in for a second. I'm not in favor of doing this for a couple of reasons. First of all, I appreciate the effort Hector put into this. This stuff, if you got to wear a suit and you're spraying it, that's an issue. And if a kid's going to go on it, that's an issue. Two, to Hector's point, like, we're not getting a lot of people to ask about this. And lastly, right now, and I know I've asked Jack Manning to join, and Jack's on, our numbers are up the last couple of days. They're up much bigger than they have been. And we're not raising a panic attack at this point, but I don't think now is the time to do it. That's just my opinion. I obviously will support whatever you guys decide. I just think the risk far outweighs the reward at this point. And to the other point, the county's one thing, but when you look, we have 5 parks that we would have to do. Like other towns have 1 or 2. But that's just my 2 cents.
Look, Ed, if I may, we have 6 different playgrounds to hit throughout town. So it's a little bit more than 1 or 2 playgrounds. And the way I look at it, we're next week we'll be in the middle of September. We have 3, 4, maybe 5 weeks of weather, and from March to now, I've had a total of 5 people reach out to me. So it's not like there's a ton of people out there complaining about it. At least they're not calling or emailing me.
I agree with you, Ed. Keep them closed.
Jimmy, what do you want to do? You want to take a straw vote?
I think that's probably the best thing, because you need to make a decision, yes.
Do I do that or you do that, Tim?
No, I mean, we're in a public closed session. A public work session. We can have a motion to keep the parks closed, or to authorize Hector to take appropriate action to open them.
I'll make a motion to keep the parks closed.
I'll second that.
I have a first and a second. All those in favor state aye.
Aye.
Against? Ayes have it. The second, thank you, Hector. The second item on here is park rentals. And Hector, I know you need to stay on for this.
Yes, I'm here.
Owens Park is starting to get a lot of use. And I think as a governing body, we need to make a decision on what we want to do with our parks. What I can see happening is these parks could become venues for much, much bigger things that are even going on now. I don't think we're staffed. I know we're not staffed. I don't think that that's what the parks are for. Right now, correct me if I'm wrong, Hector, it's $75 for an application. Even if you charged $5,000 for an application, you could have a pretty big venue in those parks every weekend if you wanted to. And we're just starting to get more and more. We've had some things that we've done. Now we have some churches asking to do some stuff there. We have other people asking to do stuff there. I don't know where it stops and where this becomes, a full-time thing for us guys. So I wanted to put that on the table. And maybe one of the answers is, we don't do anything over groups of 100 people, unless it's a partnership with the borough. But I just wanted to put that out there to you guys, because that's what we're dealing with.
Well, hey, let me ask you a question. What do you mean by partnership with the borough? Explain that. I don't understand.
Yeah, so all of our events right now are sponsored events, like the car show, the beer festival, the Italian thing. We talked about, possibly bringing Juneteenth event on, and making that a partnership. It's just that we're going to run the risk. And you guys remember, we turned down a group a couple years ago when Joe was the administrator who wanted to run a big show there, the guys from the Pittman Theater. And we just said, no, we can't handle it. That's not what they're there for. Well, they're quickly people are starting to realize, hey, it's a real good deal in Glassboro.
Yeah, but my question is, I guess what I don't understand is what requires a group to be a partnership? Do you
They
have
were
some
being-
group, you have some groups that are partnerships and some groups that aren't? Is that fair? Am I making sense?
No, you are. And I think we should probably put something out there in the beginning of the year and say, hey, if you want, be a partner with Glassboro, put your event up here and we'll decide which ones we want to be borough partnered events. That could come with some risk, but
Yeah.
I just don't think we can, I just don't know how, this is going to come back to, like, the events we've had have been fabulous. They've been great. The organizers have been excellent. But if you do it for one, you now have to do it for another. And sooner or later, we're going to get ourselves in trouble, is what I think the issue is going to be.
Oh, I agree 100%, and I don't mean to be mean by saying this, but we did it for a couple. So where do we
Right.
start?
Yep. And that's why I'm putting it on the table today. Absolutely.
Yeah, and I think the other issue, Ed, that we're facing is the difference between events that are predominantly not-for-profits,
Yep.
churches, and then we're seeing now potential private entrepreneurs or businesses that then are going to use our public facilities for private profit or gain. That's a whole different kind of an event.
It is.
If I may, Tim, one of the folks that already rented the park once and is coming back for a second time formed an LLC, and I flat out asked them, I mean, is it an LLC for profit? And they said, yes, it is for profit. We put 50 recyclable bins out there. They've always cleaned up the park. I've dealt with two different organizations. They have left the park spotless. I mean, you wouldn't even know that they were there. But I already had a church approach me and saying, hey, there was 3,000 people there. They were all over the place. You couldn't park on the street. We want to use the park as well. We want to do a church service with people in their cars. So, it's something we need to figure out. I mean, I'll do whatever I'm instructed to do, but at $75, I'm closing down a park. I'm okay using Owens. I don't want to use any other park because we have sports activities going on, even in this time. I mean, right now, South Dulce Drive, I have that place getting used just about every night of the week, including weekends. But I am getting approached, and for $75, it's a losing proposition, plus the exposure.
Well, $75 to have a private company come in and do that's a for-profit event is, I think, irresponsible. I don't think we should be putting the property to that use. That's different than a church or a nonprofit or something like that, or something for children's organizations or something like that.
So,
and I don't think it's a matter of how much we charge for the application. It's a matter of who, and this is tricky, it's a slippery slope, but it's a matter of who we rent it out to.
right.
What is
So
the-
just so you're all aware, there is one more event there this year. It's for the one we're talking about. We've kind of said okay to it already. We don't need to solve this today because we believe that's the last event of the year. I just wanted to put this on the table to have you all start thinking about for next year and planning purposes. What are we going to do? We got to make a decision. We got to make a decision whether we want to be in this business or not.
Yeah, and let's tonight agree no more in case anybody comes up between now and the end of the year. No more for the rest of the year, so that we
But
don't.
know that we have one more big one, Tony, that we did say yes to.
Who's that, Freddie?
It's the same people who had the other ones.
They're the ones that did Juneteenth. They're looking for October the 3rd. I haven't received any more information about the event for the 3rd of October. They haven't supplied me with insurance yet. I don't believe they've got any food trucks approved yet by Clark in his department. It may not happen. I haven't heard from her, and I really don't want to reach out and get her restarted on that event. But she knows what's required.
For organization, though, if that happens, it happens.
Right.
When the last time they did it, when was that, Hector?
The last one we had was August. We've had two. One was Juneteenth, and then we had one, I want to say was middle of August, beginning of August. We had one. So we've had two, but they're different organizations. One is the Black and Brilliant, which is the one that wants to do one on the 3rd of October. The other one is called Branded by Ashley. They're the ones that did one in early August.
And what's the governor's orders for this stuff? How many people could meet outside and stuff? I forget.
I think it's still 500.
How
I
much?
think it's 500 if you look at it
Wow.
for an event. So they're exceeding that by a lot.
Okay. Well, because of the pandemic, maybe we should cancel everything to the end of the year. I don't know.
Well,
Yeah.
we did we already say yes to the one last group?
Yeah, we
You know-
did. We gave them conditional approval, assuming the sticky point was there's going to be a number of food trucks there promoting different types of food. And that's a $300 permit per truck. And they thought that there was a workaround with that Hector went back and investigated. There is no workaround. It's $300 per truck. And we're just waiting to hear back, but we did give conditional approval for this last one, and they have said to us that this would be the last event.
Well, then we gave conditional approval. We'll see if they're able to comply. I don't see where that's an issue. We're talking about any further
Right.
approvals for any additional groups for the rest of the year. And my own opinion of that is let's cut it out after this last group.
So is that in the form of a motion, Tony?
Yeah, if that's okay with, well, who's chairing the council president? Is that okay, George? I'll put that in a motion.
Yeah, I just have a question. I agree with you, Tony, but are we going to revisit this before the beginning of next year so we know what we're going to do with the park rental, whatever?
Yeah, that's what we're going to do. What we're doing now is except for this group that we already gave approval to, okay, nothing else, because we're going to decide, private agencies or anything like that. This is not a private group in any event. It's not a for-profit group.
I have no problem with it. I think it's a good idea, and then we can get together and decide what we're going to do.
Excuse me for interrupting. It's 7:01.
Okay.
And we still have to do the public portion. Tim, how do we handle this?
Yeah, we should open up to the public now, and we'll see if anyone has any comments, and then we'll have
We doing that motion? Are we doing the motion, Tim?
Yes, please, Tony. We can take care of that as well now.
All right. There's a motion.
There's a second.
Our first and second, all in favor, state aye.
Aye.
Against? Ayes have it. Motion to open the meeting to the public.
So moved. Second.
First and second, all in favor, state aye.
Aye.
Against? The work session meeting is now open to the public.
Well, if that's long enough, I made the motion. If it's long enough, Tim, then hearing none, I move that the public portion be closed.
Second.
First and a second, all in favor, state aye.
Aye.
Against? Okay,
Okay, we can proceed now to the regular meeting.
I will turn it over to Mayor Wallace.
All right, good evening, everyone. I'd like to call the regular meeting of Mayor and Council of the Borough of Glassboro for September 8th, 2020 to order. Karen, could you please read the opening statement?
Yes, Mayor. Pursuant to the Open Public Meetings Act, I hereby announce that adequate notice of this meeting, as required by said act, has been provided by adopting a schedule of regular meetings for the year 2020, which schedule was posted on the Borough Hall Bulletin Board as well as the Borough website and forwarded to both the South Jersey Times and the Sentinel of Gloucester County and filed with the Borough Clerk on January 4th, 2020.
Thank you. And can we all rise and salute the flag, please? Thank you.
Pledge allegiance
Bye.
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic
What do you stand?
One
One
nation.
one nation,
Indivisible, and justice for all.
Liberty.
Thank you, everyone. Karen, roll call, please.
Mayor Wallace,
Here.
Mr. Casabone,
Present.
Mr. Delisandro,
Here.
Mr. Fiola,
Here.
Mr. Coulter,
Yes.
Ms. Miller,
Here.
Mrs. Spence,
Here.
Mr. Melandro, Mr. Melandro,
Here. Can you hear me?
Mr. Scafidi,
present.
and Mr. Brunimer.
Here.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Karen. We have no proclamations or presentations, no public hearings, no minutes to be reviewed, no communications. So we move on to committee reports. And I will ask Council President Casabone for your committee report.
I have nothing at this time, Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Councilman Delisandro.
Mayor, I have nothing at this time.
Thank you, sir. Councilman Fiola.
Nothing for finance, Mayor.
Thank you very much, sir. Councilman Halter. Thank you, Andrew. I'm a lip reader. I'm good at this.
Oh, sorry about that.
No worries. Thank you very much. Nice to see you. Councilwoman Miller.
Mayor, I have nothing at this time.
Thank you, Councilwoman. And Councilwoman Spence.
I have nothing at this time, Mayor.
Thank you, Councilwoman. And we have no unfinished business. Karen, do we have any new business?
Yes, Mayor, I am looking for approval to go out to bid for Holly Bush Drive roadway project Phase 2.
I'll make that approval.
I'll second that approval.
Okay, a motion and a second. All those in favor state aye.
Aye.
Abstentions? That motion carries. Engineers report, please, Mark.
Yes, good evening. Just real quick, Poplar Street got their TCO to start getting everything set up over there. They're doing some punch list work, so that's nearing completion over the next month or so. With that, the Redmond Avenue project, Phase 1, the work they had to do down around the basin, they're getting the materials, so that'll be starting up here shortly. Thank you for authorizing Holly Bush Phase 2 to go out to bid there. We'll get that going now. We right now tentatively have a pre-construction meeting scheduled for next Wednesday or Thursday to get that job out. That'll only probably take about a week or so, maybe 2, to get that wrapped up. For those, and the Collegetown Shopping Center is moving ahead, nearing completion of their site improvements, mostly focusing on the Phase 2 and 3, and then also getting ready for the big box stores open.
Can I ask a quick question?
Sure.
Yeah.
The map with the bowling alley lot there, is there any movement on that? Are they going to be like leveling that?
Our office just received revised plans. I think it was on Wednesday or Thursday of last week, following up for the site plan approvals and gearing up for that. So it is moving, just not real quickly for anything. I don't think he's got anything set in stone to move anybody in yet. So, but that is progressing with the zoning board.
Okay.
Any other questions?
Mark, is there going to be a Starbucks out there at Collegetown also?
I have not heard that. Chipotle is going in beside the Salad Works. They're over where the bank is going in Phase 2, where the Payless shoe store used to be. There is a small area for I'll say a food facility. So I don't know, but I don't believe that's set up for a drive-through though. And I know more recently they've been trying to gear that up for all their facilities have a drive-through. So, but I'll put the word out and I'll get back to you if I hear anything.
Okay, thank you.
Anything else for Mark? All right, Mark, thank you very much. And now at this time, I'll turn the meeting over to our borough solicitor.
Yeah, Mayor, bear with me with the number of resolutions. We have Resolution 211-20, resolution authorizing contract with telecommunications equipment and services through the state of New Jersey, contract number T1316 for the Borough of Glassboro. The entity is known as NC Financial Services. This is in the amount of $2,992.77 per month for a lease of 60 months for a total of $179,566.20. Since that is the only resolution tonight on our consent agenda for council's approval, roll call vote if so moved.
Move for approval.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion on the floor by, I believe, Councilman Delisandro, seconded by Councilwoman Spence. Karen, roll call, please.
Mr. Casabone,
Yes.
Mr. Delisandro,
Four.
Mr. Fiola,
Four.
Mr. Halter,
Four.
Ms. Miller,
4.
Mrs. Spence.
4.
Motion carries. At this time, I'll ask our Borough Administrator if he has any comments.
Do not, Mayor. Thank you.
All right, thank you. I do not have any. At this time, I'll entertain a motion to open the public portion.
I'll make the motion to open the public portion of the meeting.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor state aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? That motion carries. The floor is now open for anyone from the public who wishes to address mayor and council.
Hearing none, I make a motion to close the public portion.
Second.
All right, I have a motion by Councilwoman Spence, seconded by Councilman Fiola. All those in favor state aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? That motion carries. The public portion is now closed. At this time, I'll entertain a motion to approve all duly authorized bills.
Move that all duly authorized bills be paid.
I'll second that those bills be paid.
Thank you. There's a motion on the floor by Councilman Fiola, seconded by Council President Casabone. All those in favor state aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries. I again have no comments, so at this time I'll entertain a motion for adjournment.
I'll make a motion that this meeting be adjourned.
I'll second that.
I have a motion on the floor by Council President Casabone, seconded by Councilwoman Spence. All those in favor state aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? That motion carries. Meeting is now adjourned. Have a nice evening. And next regular scheduled meeting is scheduled for September 22nd, 2020, tentatively at 8 p.m. Thank you all. Good night.
Everybody have a great night and be safe.
Everybody.
Good night, everyone.
Night, everyone.